like 7:45. And just a disclaimer for people that say, woman, your phone has a clock on it. It doesn't on the screen when I'm live. And in order to access it, I have to do a pull down, and it just is a whole process. So I normally just look at my stove clock and go from there. And our electricity has been routinely going off in the sticks, and I don't know why, because we've never had these electricity issues before. Government. So I've been like resetting my clocks every other day, which is so strange. So strange. So I thought I'd come on here and do some half-hearted crafting. Hi, Denise. I thought I'd come on here and do some half-hearted crafting while I had a moment up. And I know I look horrible from where I've been in flare, but I feel better today. I just don't look better yet, but that I come over the next few days as my color gets better. So I thought I'd get a couple of things done while I felt like that, and catch up on maybe some dishes if I feel good. Hi, Cindy B. I've missed you. I've just been peaked and puny and had to rest. When I have those flares, I just kind of have to stay. Hi, China. I just have to kind of stay in bed. China distracted me for like 2 hours yesterday with funny messages and chit chatting. I really appreciated that because I was not feeling well and I needed a giggle. As I'm sure y'all can see from my video yesterday, I needed a giggle. But I do feel better, and so I can feel the flare leaving. I'm just not feeling super great yet, but that'll happen here in a couple of days, I'm sure. Once it starts to kind of lift, it normally improves pretty quickly, and I try to get back to my normal mischief. I try. I don't always succeed, but I try. So I'm trying to get back into the swing of things, and David has been working on some stuff, and I thought, well, I'll sit here tonight and help him. And what we have been doing is he's been cutting these beaver chew sticks at the ends, and I've been making little gnome ornaments with the little hats. And you can paint this too, but I like this one plain. And he's got a possum beard. I kind of really like that they actually have little beards made out of real fur. And they're super cute, super rustic. And I thought they were super cute. This is one of the bigger ones that so some of them are beaver chewed and some of them he's cut. I feel like I've got the Pope on my dinner table because this guy looks like the Pope to me. I painted his hat and gave him a little trim. He looks like the Pope to me, but I love his beard. That's possum as well. So some of them are hand cut and some of them are beaver chewed, so they'll be in different categories when he does put them on his sale table. I think I may paint this guy's hat, but he's a coyote beard. And I think I'm going to paint his little hat. He's beaver chewed. So some of them, I've got leather on these. I had jute on the others. So I think I'm going to paint his little hat a little bit. I give this one a little top knot just because I thought he deserved one. I thought he was cute with a little top knot. And then I've got this guy that I'm probably going to paint too, and he also has a coyote beard. So I'm just going to paint the tops, just like rustically paint them and like give them a lick and a promise with the chalk paint so they don't look perfect. I know. I said, David, look, I said, I feel like the Pope is on our dinner table. So he was like, I don't see it. And I was like, you don't see the Pope? You know, like if he just had like a cross up here, he would be the Pope. So I've been thinking if maybe I should like put a different color on top of his hat because I killed him. Because he does look like the Pope to me. So, and that does not bring positive vibes to me. I'm just saying, it does not comfort me at all. So I think I may paint him a different color. I've got 5 gazillion colors. My eyeball's itching. So I may paint him a different color just because, not gonna lie, when I look at something and see the Pope, it kind of wigs me out. just my perspective there, not everybody's. So I've not been really responding and doing a whole lot because I've just been, my body's just, it was a really bad flare and I just kind of had to go into my quiet place and deal with it. It was not pleasant. And so I haven't really kept up with everyone, but I've had a lot of people message me about um, the little. Oh, I guess some people are referring to it as a conflict, but it wasn't really a conflict. Um, it was just someone voicing their opinion in the live chat the other day when crap, who was it? Call Me Chris, when Call Me Chris came in and was voicing her opinion about my perspective on the Ryan and Patty and Kylie Rodney issue. And a lot of people are like, oh, you handled that so well. I would have gone ballistic. Or I can't stand when people are combative like that. And I think one thing that I wanted to absolutely address before I forgot about it was that I don't think she was actually being combative. Um, oh, all right, Priscilla, I will yell at you as soon as I get done. Then I'll yell at you and or message you and see what's going on. We may have to take a different route, but I'll call you when I get done. Me and Priscilla are working on something. But I don't think she's actually being combative. I think when you see people like that, a lot of people think they're being combative and they're being arrogant and they're being oppositional and defiant. But one thing that I have really come to understand with dealing with a lot of people in a lot of different spaces in life and spaces in their head and spaces in their mental health journeys is that normally when people take on a very strong position over something that is really not related to them, and they get really super passionate and almost kind of aggressive about it, it's not that they're trying to attack the other person in the conversation. It's that something has normally occurred in their life, which prompts them to take a protective mindset and attempt to view that through the scope of their life instead of viewing it through the scope of someone else's world. And so they become very protective because they have normally witnessed something or been part of something similar or something that has emotionally cast a shadow in their world. And so they become super protective. Hi, Gypsy. And so that's why I immediately went to my calm questioning voice is because when they become super emotional like that and they're in a defensive protect myself mode and they're like a wild animal cornered and they are waiting to attack because they feel that that is their only option left. And so I don't ever want to justify someone's ability to attack because that does not lead anywhere positive. So I normally question the behavior and the actions to point out that I'm not understanding the behaviors and the actions and their words because there is something that is not computing for me. And sometimes they will calm down, and in the process of attempting to explain themselves and their protective mindset, they will slip up and actually verbalize what it is they're actually protecting or what it is they're actually terrified of. And then you can really get into the meat of the problem and deal with why they are responding to that scenario, which is detached from their world, but yet they have somehow linked it and are taking a very protective approach to dealing with it. So you just have to be careful. There are different ways to approach different people. Now, if someone's just coming in here and being a turd, I will probably respond in kind and be a turd. But when I can understand that someone is linking in some abnormal or maladaptive way, I will normally try to be very kind and discerning and questioning, and I will be firm, but I will let them know that their inappropriate behavior has been noted, but I'm curious because I'm afraid that their inappropriate behavior may be covering up a true issue. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, and you just have to take it on an individual basis and hope that you can reach some, and some you can't. You're not going to be able to reach everyone, and not everyone that is having some kind of maladjustment, or some kind of emotional response to something that they honestly should not be having an emotional response to. Sometimes they think it benefits them more to carry on with the emotional response, and they really do not want to do something appropriate. And that's when you just have to go, okay, this is not my fight. And let them take their behavior elsewhere, and hopefully eventually they will run out of people that will voluntarily become victims, and they'll have to deal with themselves eventually. Not everyone will. Normally they will almost always find someone who is prepared to be their victim, and who is prepared to allow them to unleash fury upon them for no reason, and verbalize that it's okay for them to behave that way and to harm others, and it's not. So we've gotten to where we coddle people so much, and as someone that used to work in the mental health field, there are absolute specific reasons when you need to help people and take a very kind, compassionate approach, and there are times when you need to place boundaries and expectations because the behavior is basically illegitimate, and it's theater, it's drama, and it's satisfying an ego rather than an actual emotional need. And you just have to be super careful and try to discern which is which. Now, obviously, this channel, I'm not giving any advice or counseling or anything like that, but I do try to at least respond appropriately to people that I know may possibly be going through something. So I try to be kind, but I also do have a cutoff point, which I'm sure you all have noticed if you've watched me very long. I'm good until I'm not, and then I'm done. And that's kind of how I've always rolled, and just how I am. So I just wanted to explain that. So normally it may be something good for you all to know that when somebody comes at you and they are being very aggressive about a stance that you have on a certain news story or a certain belief, it's normally not that they're mad at you or they're mad at your belief. They normally take that stance to protect something about them, something about what they've experienced pertaining to whatever you're talking about. So whatever topic is kind of been the bomb that went off, and there's normally a reason that they become very protective and defensive. They've either dealt with it, yeah, they've got some kind of trauma. They've either dealt with it, watched somebody deal with it, or it has affected their life in such a way that they get super defensive and they go into protective mode. And protective mode is a very negative place to be because it shuts you down to understanding others. And so I try to always remind people that while you are asking others to understand you, you are at a place where you're shutting down and refusing to understand others. And communication and caring for each other has to be a two-way street. And if it's not a two-way street, then basically all it is one person acquiescing to another person's demands emotionally. And that's never a positive. That's never, if only one person's emotional demands are being met, never positive. So if you ever get to a place where someone is like demanding an emotional response from you, not a good thing. So I just wanted to explain that because everybody's like, you were way too nice. And I was just trying to give some thought-provoking questions so she might understand her behavior mirrored the behavior that she was saying was inappropriate. But I'm sure she could not understand that in the state that she was in. And I was hoping it might ring a bell with her and she might understand what she was transforming herself into by trying to perpetuate this victim status that she was trying to declare. But she was not going to listen to it. She was not going to open her mind. So I was just like, okay, I'm done, because I'm not required to sit here and have to deal with that anymore. And I choose not to. I mean, I'll do a little bit. I'll do a little bit for people that are really struggling but are really open to dialogue and communication. I'll sit here and talk you through anything I possibly can to help you just as a person, you know. But I'm certainly not going to sit here and take abuse anymore. I'm nope. Just that phase of my life is gone. That was my entire working career, and I am no longer there. So I'm pretty much try to be a happy person and do only what will make me happy. So wasn't going to spend too much time on her. The other day I did actually get. The other day I actually did get this big whopper. I gotta find out which is the front, which is the back. Oh, it doesn't really matter. I got this big whopper weave, and it's kind of like a rustic, primitive, like cathedral window kind of thing. And I love the way it goes into the shape in the middle. I've got to bind the corners, and I've already got the feathered angles ready to go on. I've just got to glue them. And I thought it was an odd shape, but it was pretty. And I thought, well, I'm going to weave that. And so that's what I did. And I knew I was going into flare when I started weaving it, but I thought I'll get it done before I go to flare. And I got it done just before I went to flare. And so I've got to finish decorating it. But I'm fixing to spend a lot of time cleaning up and putting some stuff away because about everything that David needs for next weekend is complete. It just needs to be repacked again. And I think he's going to take less because he's going to take more larger items. So he's going to take just one tub of smaller stuff. But he does have a ton of these that are going to be made. I mean, ton. Like he's been picking up beaver chew sticks for a long time. And then there are some of the larger ones like this. I've told him instead of making these to cut them on a diagonal and make like little oval discs. And then I can put a smaller beard, a nose, and even make a little hat and sew the ornament hanger into the hat and make little tiny Christmas ornaments that can be sold super cheap so that people can buy something that's a smaller unit price and cheaper to ship. I have to give Gypsy credit though because she gave me, where I'm from, they always use just like the wing of the animal. So a lot of people are just opting to use one feather, or they will put it leather bind it or put it in a handle. And so I put some of these, I drilled a hole and put some of these in a beaver chewed natural willow handle and just put a bead to cover up the blank spot between where the feather goes in. And I've sold 3 of these already. I mean, they're not expensive, but apparently people really enjoy them. And David has cut all the handles, and all I have to do is basically stick a feather in. And so they've done really well. To the point where I made that one, I was like, I'm not putting on Etsy because the other one that I put on Etsy the other night lasted about 20 minutes and was already gone. And I was like, wow, that went quick. So Gypsy had a phenomenal idea because in my tribe, they just used a single feather or a whole wing. They never really made these decorative little things. So I never would have thought about it because it's something I had never seen. Hi, music. So now that I've seen them, I'm like, oh, that's pretty. And apparently a lot of people do like them. And there's this one lady in Louisiana that has actually bought 2 of them. And she really enjoyed them. And they're going to be used in upcoming like tribal ceremonies and stuff. So I was tickled with that. At least people are enjoying them. But David's really on a Christmas kick. So he really wants to make a lot of these little gnomes. Of course, he wants them to have his rustic touch to them, have some fur on them. And I understand that because that is his MO. So I'm trying to meet him halfway with that. He cut more fox fur palms for me to make. And I'm looking at them, but I've pushed them to the side of the table in the bag because I'm really going to let him do that tomorrow to understand just how much of an issue that is so that he stops cutting all these fur palms because they're driving me nuts. So I'm going to let him put those together so he can see the struggle and understand why I'm coming from there. You want a tail? What tail do you want? I think we only have 2 coyote tails and then some raccoon tails left. Everything else is gone. All right, we don't have any fox right now, but trapping season starts for fox in a couple months. So normally the foxes are the hardest around here to skin because sadly a lot of the foxes have a lot of skin issues. We're trying to get the population back to where they're healthier. It did improve some last year. We're hoping that we see more improvement this year, but sometimes they have skin issues, and so the skin cell structure is not good for tanning. So if he gets a red fox and a tail is all he can salvage off of it, you will be the first person I will stick it aside for. So I'll just put that on his little board in the building so that he knows you want one. So what we've done now is like the hides that tanned, but like some of them did not tan as nice as he would have wanted, where the skin was not receptive. We've cut the areas into palms and like beards for stuff to not waste the skin, not waste the fur. So, but yeah, trapping season is about to start all over again. So he's been out looking for sign and looking where people have had issues with a lot of nuisance animals. So he's been out doing that in the few moments of free time he's had here lately. So it's all fixing to start all over again here very soon. I feel like we just got to where we were not overwhelmed, but here we go again. So I think he's going to go out tomorrow and pick up more willow. So that's another thing. I think I'm going to weave a couple more dream catchers. Also, if Mischief watches this, I emailed again, but I got no response. I don't know if Gmail's being a booger. I don't know what's going on. But if you see this and you still want that dream catcher that I made that you like so well, put a comment when this loads and let me know. Otherwise, I'm probably just going to throw it into next weekend's stuff for David to take to that vendor sale, because I literally have way too much stuff in my house to have extra stuff hanging around. My house is too full. It's just too full. There's no bare spots on the wall. So I've got like a whole hallway of nothing but coyotes hanging, and they're all for sale, and I have them all numbered. But it's just a whole hallway of just coyotes hanging, and it's pretty, but I have to vacuum a whole lot, a whole lot. So I don't think I'm going to do a whole lot this weekend. If I feel good tomorrow, I've begged the kids to let me babysit tomorrow night or Sunday, just long enough for them to go out to maybe do like a dinner as a couple and have a minute to breathe, because no one has watched the baby for them yet. They've been, I really thought they would get sleep deprived way earlier than this and ask for help, but they've done way better than I ever anticipated as far as that goes. And so there's a possibility I may get to hang on to the baby for just a couple minutes Saturday or Sunday. And so I'm trying to be very careful with myself so that I definitely can do that and hang on to her and enjoy my time with her, because I don't get to see her a whole lot between Lane's work schedule, and I try to leave them alone because I know they're sleeping at odd times, and Kaylee's trying to catch a nap when she can, so I don't like barge in and visit. I kind of let them dictate the schedule. And so I'm really hoping that I'm able to just hang on to her and let them go get dinner and have a couple hours of alone time and just to breathe for a minute, because I remember those days when I was a new mom and it was hectic and I just needed a moment to not have myself on like high alert. So I'm hoping I get to hang on to her for just a little bit. David is supposed to be off both days, so he will be here with me, so I won't be alone. But we're just hoping to get a little bit of Ellie Mae time and give them a little bit of a break. So I don't know that I will be like super active in videoing, but David is creating his own channel. He's working on content right now. He's already got a couple of videos recorded, and he's going to do his intro video this weekend. So I will be setting up his channel. When I do, I will definitely drop a link and then mention it in one of my next lives. So if you all want to go and support him, you can. I have prepared him for the hate that he may run into with people that do not agree with our lifestyle here in Appalachia. And I honestly, he's so laid back. I think he'll probably deal with it probably better than most people. I don't think it will really irritate him that much. He just kind of does his thing. And like I said, unless you bring it right here to him, it's not a problem. So he's real laid back. Um, but so I have that to work on for him as soon as he gets everything ready, and I'll get his channel started. He's excited about that. So I think he just wanted to be separate so that people that wanted to find his content would not have to dig through my content, which I understand because it's kind of two different worlds at times. And so I'm going to help him start that. So we turned back on all the trail cams that send photos again today. So our house is fixing to be inundated with messages of trail cams again. So during the off season, we leave it to where you get like the first 100 pictures a month free. But during trapping season, we turn it on to where you get every notification. And so we normally stay inundated with trail cam photography at all hours of the day and night during trapping season so that we can keep an eye on what's roaming through the areas. So we got all that turned back on today. It was a little bit of a pain in the butt. We got a new camera last year and it's newfangled, and it was a little bit of a pain in the butt, but we got it figured out. It worked fine last year, but turning it back on again was way more difficult than I thought. And oddly enough, my phone the last week has struggled to have a cell signal, even though they've put up like 7 new towers in our neck of the woods. So I can text, but I can't make phone calls, which I don't understand. Because if the infrastructure money is being spent on these towers, why is my phone not working? So I'm kind of like, I'm on to you in that regard. But my phone is, yeah, and I pay on a plan that uses all towers. So I should have the best reception. I have none. Like it tells me I can't make a phone call. And I thought it was just maybe something had happened where we're on this little dead spot where we live, that maybe it was causing like a crossover issue and didn't know which tower to go to. But I tried it in town today. We had to go to the post office, and David took me to the one with steps, and I had to climb the stairs. And that was a bad afterthought after I got down the stairs. But I tried it in town. It still wouldn't work. And so I don't know what's wrong with my phone, but after going up the stairs to the post office, coming back down, because the ramp is so long, by the time I walk the ramp, I might as well just challenge myself for the stairs. That ramp is so long, and you have to walk to the other side of the building, and it just doesn't make sense why they did that. I mean, I know most people are on wheels, but you have to think about the other people that can't, like stairs are a bad thing. Horrible afterthought for the people that built that. Anyway, I came home after that and crashed and slept all afternoon. That exhausted me that much. But at least my body is resting now, so I'm catching up on some sleep where I was not. The nerve and bone pain the last few days have just been really bad. Really, really, really bad. And my left leg like swelled up and turned like piebald red and purple, because that's what RSD likes to do. It likes to change colors when it affects the limbs. And it was really strange. Like the coloration was even odd enough this time that David was like, that is like the weirdest one yet. And I was like, yes, it is. But I have a great doctor. He's actually going to be on vacation next week. So bless his heart, he called me yesterday and was checking on me. Because I called in and told him I was going into flare to kind of put them on alert just in case I needed them. And he was going to take vacation next week. So he actually called me yesterday and checked on me, which I thought was super sweet. I have the nicest PCP. He's super sweet. And he was like, I just wanted to call and check on you. And I was like, well, if you wanted to check on me, I could have done like a telehealth so you could have at least gotten paid. And he's like, oh, it's not a problem. I just wanted to check on you. And I was like, bless your heart. I have a great physician locally. It's just because there's no hospital locally and he has to rely on specialists or out of county physicians to admit me. Pain in the butt when I need hospitalization and monitoring. Pain in the butt. So that's why I normally just kind of shut down and try to handle everything from home, because by the time I travel a 3 to 4 hour round trip, plus all the time I'm sitting in an ER, for them to not understand my disorder, I have to educate them. They have to then look up pages and pages and pages of information to validate what I'm saying. It's just a mess I don't want to get into. And so unless I think my organs are really getting into the flare, I just deal with it at home and hide and get through it. I just kind of mentally recess into my brain and get through it. And that's what I do. And after, several years of this, I'm doing fairly good at it now. And this flare luckily was a short one. So yeah, knock on wood. It was a short one. So I'm not going to fuss too awful much. It was pretty severe, but it was a short one. So, yeah, it's been a week. It's definitely been a week, but I'm kicking. I'm coming out of it, and I'm feeling a little bit better. My color will improve over the next couple of days, and hopefully my mood will as well. The last 2 days, I was just snarky mean because I was hurting, so I was just snarky mean. David really deserves a medal for putting up with me because when I'm hurting, I'm hateful. So, I was hateful the last couple of days. The poor Dave, he needs a medal for putting up with me. He's excited to have a weekend off. I think he is going to be basically in the shop trying to get caught up on a few things because he's already had like archery season hunters bring him stuff. And so he's going to be working in the shop a lot. I'm probably not going to see him a lot, but at least he's home and he's doing something other than working. He's doing something he enjoys to work at. And I'm hoping to just have a recuperation weekend and to see the grandbaby. And so what I'm going to do, because since I've been doing all this crafting and stuff, and my craft room has like turned into the box storage and the storage for everything when David is not at vendor sales. We're starting to clear that out now, so I'm hoping I can be back in my craft room for all this. But I'm going to clean up my kitchen tonight, and I normally always have my table set. I'm one of those people because I have a crochet tablecloth that goes over my round table, and I have Lane made me a homemade like butcher's block pretty old wood thing, and I have that there, and I put stuff on it, and I put my rooster plates out and my rooster napkin holders out, and I always have my table set. And since I've been crafting, I've not had my table set, and it just, my house feels weird to have my craft stuff in my kitchen, and it's kind of gotten on my nerves. So I'm thinking about getting everything finalized and moved back. Since next weekend is the last vendor sale, I should be back in my craft room, and we'll start doing the lives from there at that point. And it will change the background and stuff, but it will still be very much me, so y'all will be fine with it. But it will free up my poor kitchen from turning into the explosion it has been the last several months, because it's getting to the point where I just can't take it anymore. I don't mind like my craft room being a mess because I can close the door, but I mind my kitchen being a mess because it can't hide from me. So I'm going to finish the dream catcher that's behind me on the wall, the one in the floor, and I've got like 2 more little gnomes to put together, and then I'm calling it quits on everything. He will have enough to take to the vendor sale, and after that we're starting the seasonal stuff. And hopefully I will be back in my craft room at that point to do the seasonal stuff. But this year has been such a huge growth for David in his fur business and doing like creating all these other little projects that we just expanded too quickly, and my craft room got way too small, way too quick. But I think now we're back at a point where I can get it back under control. So looking forward to getting you all back in that environment. Yeah, and be a change of scenery and a little bit better acoustics and potentially some better lighting. Although this halogen bulb is still really irritating me. I just got to tell you, I do not like it. I will never buy another one. $8. It's going to stay up there till it blows, but it's $8. But I cannot stand the color it casts in this room. It bothers me. I am a warm light person, and that is very much bright, cold. I don't like it. So, yeah, fixing to also do some small work in the bathroom. Haley's going to come in soon and help me do some changes in the bathroom. And Kim and I may undertake some painting in Haley's old bedroom, which is going to become the guest room. So as the weather cools and it stabilizes, and after we get through the transition and my body kind of chills, going to be doing lots of projects in the house as my body can handle them. So like it will be short-lived projects, but I'll take y'all along for the ride. It will take me a long time to finish everything because I only have spurts of energy. But I'm excited to change a few things up because Haley was a purple child, and while I allowed her to express herself and paint a purple wall and accents, I'm so ready for them to be gone. I can't stand it, and I already have the flooring to put down, and I've just got to kind of bare bones the room and put it back together. And I cannot wait for the purple to leave. She can't even stand it anymore. Thank God, she's grown. But lots of stuff happening. I also have to make 2 brand new Christmas stockings, one for Ellie Mae and one for Reggie, Haley's new little corgi. And I honestly think I'm going to decorate for Christmas early this year, but I'm not doing a whole Christmas tree. I'm doing a very funky Christmas tree rendition, which David is actually making for me. And he's already started on it, bless his little heart. And so I'm excited to show you that craft. It may be a great idea for those of you that have smaller homes like me, or just don't like having to contend with a big tree. If you sometimes need a walking aid, or you expect crowds for Christmas and you don't want the Christmas tree to overtake room for your guests, this is going to be a great alternative to a Christmas tree. And I know Haley got into my Christmas tree storage and swapped a bunch of stuff last year because I told her just to take what she wanted. But literally, to finish up my Christmas tree this year, if I have to buy what I need, it might cost me $15. And this is going to be such a Christmas hack for people that may want to have a slim decorating year or save room in their small home. I got this from a friend that sets up at vendor sites, and I was like, why have I not thought of this? It made me feel so stupid. So I'm definitely doing this for Christmas, and it's going to be something that I share with you. So I will probably decorate early so I can share this with you all so that you all have time to undertake this craft if you want to. And then as we make ornaments, I will actually need to store them on the tree or on my garland. So I need a place to store ornaments after I make them so that they're not just like a pile somewhere. So I'm going to go ahead and decorate a little bit early this year. David will have a problem with that, but he's just going to have a problem with that. So yeah, we've got a lot going on. I've got a lot of hopeful things that I will accomplish this year. I'm hoping that once we get through the transition of seasons, my flares and my body kind of chill out, because it's supposed to be 30s, in the 30s tomorrow night. It's supposed to frost really hard for the first time. It frosted a little bit the other night, but it's supposed to frost really hard for the first time tomorrow night. And I think that's why I went into flare. I think my body was feeling a lot of the changes coming on. And we had all those solar flares. There's been a lot of just stuff occurring energetically in the environment the last couple of weeks. And so I definitely think my body just kind of got tired and broke down and just had a flare. But I'm hoping that once we get through everything, I maintain and have a better winter than I did last year, which last year was not super bad, but it's the transition times that kill me, y'all. Any change is horrible. Speaking of change, I've finally gotten used to the mattress topper. It only took me like a week and a half. I'm still sore from it, but I'm not in like dire pain. Yes, a mattress topper triggered probably a lot of that flare as well. Any change to my body, whether it's something you might think is comfortable, a new recliner, literally laying on a different pillow at a different angle with my neck, anything can make me feel like it made me feel like I'd been in a car accident, was just stove up, and I'd just been ping-ponged around a car and bruised. So I finally made peace with the mattress topper, and I really thought I was going to have to like pitch it. But David loves it, and so I was just trying to get used to it. So I think I'm almost there. Any change triggers my RSD fiercely. So I think I'm about through that one. So maybe I've made peace with the new bed, or the new mattress topper. But it's been a rough couple of weeks, y'all. and I'm tired and worn out. But give me a couple of days and I'll be back to normal mischief. I promise. I have got some earrings I'm going to try to make. David has been collecting from the poor raccoons. Tonight or tomorrow night, I can't remember which one. The Original Mountain Cur Breeders Association, OMCBA. That's a mouthful for y'all that don't grow up in places like I do. They're having their big night hunt for like the Grand Night Champion dog, and they don't like to waste anything either. So when they do the night hunts, they like contact taxidermists, anyone in the county that may want to use the game that is harvested. So David will be going out. I can't remember if it's tonight or tomorrow night. It's been a week. So he's going to go out and be taking a lot of the raccoons for their pelts and for the other things we take for the earrings. So he has promised to get all of those and sanitize and clean them and boil them for me. And so I will be making probably several pairs of earrings if they have a good hunt, which I assume they will. They normally do. So I should be making a lot of earrings. I already have a few pair that have been requested. So Gypsy's requested some, and then there's been a couple other people have put in a request when I get enough to make them. But then after that, they will be going on Etsy because they will not be done in time for the vendor sale next weekend. So they will be going straight to Etsy. So if you all want some of my weird raccoon earrings, David will be throwing them up on the Etsy store. And it's only fair because he does all the work to kind of harvest them and get them and clean them and sanitize them. And all I do is make them pretty. So I just give them back and he puts them up on Etsy. And every time he goes somewhere, he brings me back stuff. So I can't, he pretty much keeps me in craft items. So he came in the other day with a bunch of these and had found another fowl farm local to get feathers for me. So poor man works his little butt off for me, so I can't really fault him for anything. But that's kind of where we are this week. He's been like full steam ahead and making these little things. I have just been down and not able to really do a lot other than just kind of whine and take care of me. So we are probably going to get back at full steam. I'm hoping by Monday I will be back to full steam. And also Southpaws is constantly commenting, and I'm trying to respond, but I can't get a response back. And Southpaws was the winner of these earrings last Sunday. And I've tried to respond and comment and get them to email me. I've not seen an email come through yet, but you won these in the drawing Sunday. If you would like them, please just email me at watersworkload@gmail.com. and I'll get them sent to you. I've set them aside for you because you've been with the channel so long. I wanted to make sure that you got these. If I don't hear from you by Sunday, then we'll do these in another giveaway, and plus the dream catcher that I'm probably going to toss up on Sunday. So that's my plan for Sunday. I've been kind of slow, but the small dream catcher that I have started, it should not be a huge issue for me to complete. So I'm going to try to make sure I have that ready for the Sunday giveaway as well. So make sure that you all come into the couples chat Sunday because we will be doing a more expensive giveaway. So the dream catcher that you're going to be getting is with shipping and all about a $30, $35 freebie. So make sure that you and everybody you know comes into the giveaway. We do like to have a certain number of people and pretty good conversation before we pull out that random number generator and I have to count a blue zillion comments, but it's worth it. And we like to obviously give back when you spend time with us. And it's also getting close to Christmas, so my mods will be getting stuff in the mail from me because you all take care of me, so I try to take care of you. So Gypsy's already got a box that's accumulating in my kitchen. So it's going to be quite the. You may get 2 separate packages. So, but I try to take care of my mods. And also, if Annette sees this, Annette is normally on earlier, but Annette's been with me since the get-go. So I'm thinking about if Annette would like to become a mod for my daytime lives, my morning and afternoon lives, when I actually have the energy to do those. Annette, if you'd like to do that, catch me the next time I'm on and we'll give you a wrench. I know she's been with me almost like since the second stream I did, and she's an earlier bird, but sometimes I do those morning lives when I'm feeling good, and so I definitely want to give her that option. But I do try to take care of my mods. Jamie has a quilt that should be done from the quilters any day now, and we did a barter for that. So she made me tons of jelly this year and barter for a quilt. So her quilt should be done and back, and I should be able to mail that here in the next couple of weeks. My quilt lady is super busy right now. And I do have another quilt top that had been with her for, oh gosh, about 6 weeks. And I had sent it in. It's one that I've had for a long time, and that I had put like the fleece foam backing on it to where you don't actually have to quilt it all. It puts that little warm like thermal layer on the back, and you kind of, it's like a coverlet, but you can use it as a quilt too. And we had used it, like I'd made it for us to use and we had used it, but I sent it to my quilt lady and had her fix a couple of the binding issues where I had missed a couple of stitches. Because y'all, I'm not good at binding. I had her fix the binding issue, and I had her go around it's a huge fall leaf quilt, and all the fall leaves are in different patterns. So it's green stripped with white blocks, and it's got big fall leaves. And I had her go around and applique stitch all the fall leaves and then redo the binding. And because it is such a big quilt, and I have got all of my grandmother's heirloom quilts now, I'm thinking about offering it on Etsy for sale. Otherwise, it's going to hang behind me with all the 15,000 others. And I don't really need that many. So I'm thinking about putting it on the laundry line tomorrow and taking some pictures and seeing if anyone would like to buy it. It will be at a slightly cheaper price because it's one that's been in the family. But I did send it off and have it revamped and some corrections where I had missed stitches and stuff. I had those fixed. And I had hand appliqued the leaves, but now they are machine appliqued really pretty. So they look a lot better. But all the leaves are they're all in different colors. Well, I can just show you. Let me go get it. If I can get up. It's getting up and moving the last couple of days has been the issue for me. Okay, let me grab it. Oh, excuse me, Oscar. Let me have this. I'm tender, so I have to be careful. So this is the quilt, and so all the leaves are in different patterns. So all the leaves are in different patterns, and it's got this fleece backing on it, and but it's very warm and it covers, and it does actually like it because it actually holds in a little bit more heat. But I had just like used it as a coverlet display for the guest room and stuff. And there's one big paisley one that I love. Where's it at? There it is. There's this big paisley one right here that I love, and it's like an 80-something inch quilt, so it's a bigger quilt, and it's bright and cheerful and pretty, but I like the fall leaves. I've got a couple of solid ones on there, but she did a beautiful job going around the leaves in applique stitching, which is not something I'm capable of doing, mostly because I do not have the patience. Patience is not something I'm great with when I'm quilting, not at all. So I got this back. David picked it up yesterday, the day before. Drink all your water, Oscar, please. So David got this yesterday, the day before, I can't remember. And I thought, well, where am I going to put it? Because it's too big for Haley's bed in the guest room. And we have way too many quilts and comforters for our bed. I mean, I'm quilt poor, as you can see behind me. So I'm thinking about letting this one be so, but it will go cheaper because it is actually one that has been on my bed as a coverlet and on the guest bed and been used. But I didn't do a fabric backing on it. I just put that fleece stuff on it, and I loved it because in the wintertime, when you would snuggle into it, it was warm. And it would hold in more heat. And it's just, you can see it needs probably to be shaved a little bit. You get one of those little sweater shavers because it kind of fluffs up, but it's it's still clean. I keep really good care of my quilts. It's still clean and it's really good. And so I may offer it for sale. So I may put it up in the Etsy store. And if I do, it's just whenever David has time to help me hang it up because it's too big for me to hang up on the laundry line alone. And I will take photos of it. So I forget the other dimensions, but one side is like 82 or 86. It's a big quilt. So it would lay over my king bed and look pretty. So it's pretty big quilt. It would drape beautifully over a queen. If you had a dust ruffle, it would drape beautifully over a queen. So, but I have all my grandma's heirloom quilts for Haley's queen bed in the guest room. So I don't need any. I'm quilt poor. And I'm turning into my mother because I've noticed it's harder for me to get rid of some. So I'm trying not to turn into my mother. My mother probably has 40 to 60 quilts in her basement that she just won't let go of. And her entire basement is a quilt shop. And I'm trying to not turn into my mother. So I definitely have a quilting corner in my craft room that is constantly swamped with fabric and constantly has all my machines thrown into it until I'm pulling out to use it. And David made the remark the other day that I was turning into my mom. And I was like, oh, no. I'm not going to hoard quilts. And so when I really got to thinking about this one, when I got it back, I thought somebody else may really enjoy this. And it is handmade. And some of it was actually hand sewn. And then what she did at the quilt shop was actually machine done on top of it. So it's a good little conglomeration of love for multiple people. But it's been very well taken care of and it's very pretty. So that's where I am. I still love it and I've been on the fence with it because I love it. But honestly, I will never get to use it the way I want it to be displayed. It will just end up on one of these. I have others of these in my home. I have hanging quilt racks where I display just one quilt at a time from a shelf. And I have no more room for any more. So David is kind of really getting on to me about all my quilts. So I really do think I'm going to sell this one. So everybody just kind of watch and wait. Any ghosts on the cam. So I haven't seen anything strange on the cam. Sometimes a crow will trigger it and then fly off before it actually gets the photo, but it's mostly birds. And my phone's been really weird too, Gypsy. It's been really weird. Teresa. Hey, Teresa. Teresa's been like, but just a blessing. Teresa's been such a blessing to me this week. And I mean, I can't thank you enough. I'm so tickled that somebody really appreciates what I do. It's so strange, but I really am thankful someone appreciates what I do. Especially because I have limited energy. So what I do put my energy toward is important to me. So I like it when people enjoy what I do. There will definitely be the little gnomes on the Etsy site. David has already cut, I think, 25 to 30. My husband gets really like, he's like gung-ho. And then I'm like, wait, you want my help and I have limited energy? So, but he has cut a lot of these. He really thinks they're adorable. And so there will definitely be some on Etsy soon. We do have the vendor sale in Rickman next week. And then a lot more will be going up. I may toss a couple of the cuter ones that I know I have boxes to fit into because I made some creative boxes for Teresa this week. I apologize in advance for all the tape you're going to have to deal with. But there will be some show up on Etsy. And I may steal a couple of the cuter ones and put them on Etsy because even if we're at a sale, if I have Wi-Fi, if they sell, then I can remove them from the Etsy store immediately. So it's not a huge deal. But I may put some of the smaller, cuter ones that I know will fit in the boxes I have up so that I can offer a few for you all. They're really rustic. I think they're adorable. I think if you had a mantle with like a gnome collection, these would be super cute. The hole that is drilled for the ornament hanger stuff is small enough that if you take it out, you don't really notice it. So it can be camouflaged if you want to take the string or the leather strap out and just display them on a shelf. And then the ones that he's going to cut at a diagonal, we're probably going to sell those as pairs or like 2 to 3 in a bundle for people. And so I think he's going to cut some of those for me this weekend, and we're going to try to mock up a couple to see what they look like. He is trying to really use all these resources that he runs across so there's no waste. And honestly, if these beavers are going to cut down every tree that grows around the pond rather than watch the tree rot, because it's such, I mean, willow is just a really pretty wood, I would rather find a way to use it. So that's kind of where we are right now. I am waiting until I feel better to go on a pine cone hunt. But as soon as I feel better, we will be going on a pine cone ramble. And then I will be putting them in the salt bags to kill any insects and clean those up. And then I will be making the pine cone gnomes. And the pine cone gnomes, I may put shoes on some of them. I've had a really weird thought pattern about those. I may put shoes on some of them, and some of them may just have a felt pad or a leather pad on the bottom so that they sit straight. But I am going to be going on a pine cone ramble very soon with David. And there's one other thing that I want to get made for next weekend if I have the energy, and it is using one of the big, large beaver chew sticks and hanging I've got a coyote face that goes up to the shoulders. And it looks like a wall hanging. And I fell to the back of it, but I didn't really know what to do with it. And I really liked it. I had it up here for a long time, and I've put it back in another room. And I think I'm going to do like some pretty crochet knots and do a hang it from the beaver chewed stick as a wall hanging. And I've already had a man from Knoxville ask me about that. And he had purchased some stuff previous from David and had already asked about that. But I'm going to try to do that. It would be a big one to ship. So I don't know. And he normally comes and meets us halfway if he purchases stuff. So I don't know if that will be something that actually can go on the store, because the shipping is just atrocious. Shipping is one of those necessary evils. I hate it. It costs so much, and I hate shipping. And I try to price things where people can purchase them and enjoy them and not feel, I like, some people charge stuff on Etsy and I'm like, that's outrageous. That's ludicrous. That's just not necessary. And so I try to price stuff to where people can buy it and enjoy it and not feel swindled. Because I've bought stuff on Etsy before and been like, and been like, okay, it is what it is. I should have paid more attention. But, I was like, that could have been much cheaper. So I try to not be that person. So anybody that has chickens molting right now, please email me, contact me, leave a comment. I've got all my chicken fowl farms are all molting in different stages right now, because they're all kind of like across the southeast where I get my chicken feathers from and all my feathers. And so if you have an ornamental fowl farm or a chicken farm and they're molting and you're able to pick up feathers, please contact me. And we will work out a price for shipping. I need all the feathers I can get. Turkey season is not until next spring, and I am on my last 2 bags of turkey feathers. I still have a few from one of Lane's turkeys that I plucked. Yes, I plucked it. I hate plucking things, but I plucked that thing. But I try to pay everybody just to pick up their ornamental fowl feathers and send to me, and that way it's humanely obtained. They're not perfect, but everybody knows that the animals were not harmed in the process of getting the feathers, so that makes people more comfortable with it. So I need all the feathers I can get, and everybody's chickens are molting at different stages. So I've got some that have been able to send me, a lot of feathers the last month, but they're going to be dry for a few more months until everybody gets their feathers back and gets back to the normal routine. So if you have chickens that are molting, hang on to the feathers, message me, email me at watersworkload@gmail.com, or on Instagram at izzbywaters, IZZBY Waters. And I don't care to pay you shipping and for the feathers. I use tons of them in dream catchers and other crafts, and I do not like to use fake feathers, so I'm always willing to pay shipping and for the feathers themselves. So Oh, and we have our winner for the first animal that I'm going to make, the little animal ornament. So the first animal ornament, the most outlandish one, was actually stated during the live the other day. It was the chupacabra, and the chupacabra will be role modeled after her orange tabby cat. So China C will be the first animal ornament that I venture to create this year. And he has fangs. He's got the large, like, huge fangs, like this super giant for a cat. And it's terribly adorable. And so I was laying there the other day when I wasn't feeling well, and I was thinking, and we were chit chatting, and it dawned on me that I could actually give the little animal that I create real fangs with raccoon teeth. So I'm going to attempt to make her cat into like a kitty cat chupacabra, because that's what he looks like with his teeth, and kind of make it a little whimsical version of the two. And I'm going to actually use real raccoon fangs so that it has real teeth. So I'm excited. She's the first animal winner. So if you have another odd animal desire for an ornament, and y'all know my ornaments are normally about that big, like they're pretty big. But I make them out of styrofoam and yarn and fabric, and sometimes I actually sculpt parts of them as well. If you have a desire for one of those, please, when this video loads or in the comments now, because I can go back and watch the live comments, tell me what animal, why you want it done. And I'm trying to pick some of the biggest weird challenges. And if I make it and it looks like something I'm actually halfway proud of, I will send it to you free of charge. And that will be your Christmas ornament this year. So I'm going to try to do a few of those at least. So the first one will be the orange tabby cat chupacabra with real teeth. So I'm excited. I've actually been trying to go through all my craft room and see what I have and what I will need. And I'm tickled, and I have an idea to add a twist to it that I don't think China is anticipating. So I think it will be really fun. Oh, Denise, you don't have to buy her quilt. Oh, Denise, you don't have to buy her quilt. This one is a really warm quilt because it's got the fleece lining on the back. And it's actually one of mine, so it will be cheaper. But if David helps me take pictures and stuff, and I put it up, I'll let you know. But don't you feel obligated? You bless your heart. You've done so much for us. Just bless your heart. Oh, Clara, yeah, I'm starting to come out of this one. Like right now, I feel pretty good. It's been a rough day, but I slept a lot, and I'm hoping another couple of days, and I will be back to my normal mischief. But y'all can tell the rings under my eyes alone tell you how hard this one hit. It was a pretty rough flare. And one day David said it would probably be good for me to actually film during my flares to show you how my body shuts down. It shuts down like a person with MS. And he's probably right. I do need to share all of that to be transparent, because I like to educate you all. But that it's kind of embarrassing for me as well, because of how different I am when my body shuts down. And so I have to make peace with sharing that much of myself. Oh, the coyotes got all your chickens and turkeys. I'm so sorry. The coyotes are running early here. They had not been here all winter or all summer, and then they've been yipping tonight. So they're moving back in. They're fixing to change their patterns. Hi, Stephanie. I was working on gnomes. I was working on beaver chewed gnomes with coyote and possum beards and a little round nose. And I'm going to paint some of the hats, but some of the beaver chewed ones I'm going to try to leave a more neutral color, because I actually like that you can see where the beavers have bitten and chewed on the wood. I kind of think that's neat. So I'm going to leave those kind of plain. So yeah, China, woohoo, yeah. I'm really excited to tackle it, especially since she sent me pictures of her kitty cat, and he's adorable. So I'm really excited to see how much. This quilt, well, it's because it's a king, and I had quite a bit of work done on it the other day to reapplicate and rebind where I had missed some of the binding. Normally, after I get it hung up and I look at it and I remeasure, they normally this size go for between like 150 and 180. So that's probably where this one will be used. Now, if this one were brand new and no one had ever used it, it would be like a 250 quilt because it's a big quilt. But it's got really nice appliques on it, and it's got there's some. I may, once I get it hung up, I'm gonna launder it again and hang it up. And if I notice anything else that I may subtract from it. If I notice anything that I've not paid attention to notice before, I'll subtract from it. But that's probably where I'm gonna land. It probably will be closer to 150, to be honestly. I mean, that's just kind of where I'm landing on that one. Yeah, I try not to get too horrible. And this is like a large queen or king size. So, but I will put the measurements up when I list it. I like oversized quilts, so I will most of the time have kings made for my queen bed, and then on my kings I will add like borders because I like for them to hang over. And so a lot of my quilts are oversized because I like oversized quilts, and because my husband is super tall. And so if I ever make something for our use, it has to be super big because my husband's super tall. So I have to make sure that his feet will not be hanging outside of the cover. So, but this one is one that I made for us and we used a little bit, and it was the one that was displayed on the guest room for a while. And then if we like get super cold during the winter, it was the one that we would hang on top of everything else because it's got that great heat absorption fleece on the inside. So it's really good quilt. I just have so many, and I'm running out of house to store everything. As you can see from behind me. Oh, you like monochrome, Stephanie? Do you like monochrome colors? I can definitely start looking for stuff. Every time I go by a fabric bin, I like, if there's a boat with 1 or 2 yards left on it, I buy it because I know I'll use it. I'm one of those shoppers. My mother trained me well. I normally am a very colorful quilter, but like if I know you're looking for something, it makes me think differently, then I'll be like, okay, I'll try that one and step out of my comfort zone because I don't mind to do that. I hand painted a lap quilt once that had Freddie Mercury silhouette on it. It had the Hot Space album Freddie, but with sunglasses. And I put that in a raffle for the Queen Breakthrough the North American Queen Convention, and it raffled, and it was just a lap quilt, and he went for like $200 to raise money for St. Jude's children. And I was like, wow, and there wasn't that many people there that day, and it raffled and immediately went to like over $200. I was like, whoa. And all it was fabric paint on a huge piece of it was like marbled fabric. And so it looked really cool. It looked really 80s, which was what I was going for. And so it was basically this face, but with the sunglasses. And then I had mocked his signature underneath it really large. And that went super quick. I was amazed. Stephanie, yeah, quilts are emotional, memories too, yeah. Yeah, I've got my grandmother's cathedral quilt, cathedral window quilt, and my mother gifted it to me this year. And literally when she handed it to me, and I had so many memories of that quilt being on Grandma's guest bed, which is where I slept when I spent the night. And I just had to sit there for a minute and fight back the tears because it just reminded me of Grandma so much. And I get that. Quilts are memory capsules. And I have a quilt that was made by a woman that I called my Nanny Clara. She was not related to me in any way, but she helped really form who I was when I was a middle schooler and teenager. And when I went to college, she made me a quilt. I still have that quilt. It needs to be patched and repaired. I know it needs to be. I just hate to patch and repair it because everything that is falling apart of it reminds me of how long I've had it. And it is the quilt when I was sick or needed comfort that I would wrap myself up in, and it's hanging up on one of my quilt racks, and it looks like it's been absolutely chewed on by something, but it just reminds me of my Nanny Clara. And so I'm at this point where I need to have it repaired, but I hate to make it look new, and because it reminds me of all I've been through since she gave that to me. And she was able to actually make Lane a quilt, and I actually have it here in a cedar chest for him. And I said, when y'all get situated, I said, y'all can have it. But sadly, she passed away before she was able to make Haley one. She passed away before Haley was born. And so we treasure our Nanny Clara quilts, and I treasure my grandma's quilts. I even have some from my great grandma and from David's great great grandma. She was a prolific hand quilter. And so I had some that were super old, like fabrics that I don't even know what they're made out of. They're so old, like they're weird. And some of them actually have flour sacks in them. And I was gifted 2 quilt tops from his mom out of that little treasure trove. And I had them quilted in there in my cedar chest, and they'll never go anywhere. So we understand the emotional attachment to quilts. This is why I'm sitting here hugging this one right now, going, I need to sell it, but I love it. So, and this is one that, you know, it's only maybe 2 years old, maybe. I probably started on it, but I probably didn't finish till maybe a year and a half ago. And so it got used a little bit when it was super cold and I needed to throw something over me on the couch or recliner, or if it was super cold and I wanted an extra blanket on top of the bed. But it mostly just kind of hung out in the guest room, folded over the guest bed. And now that I've got all grandma's quilts for the guest room, I'm like, I got nowhere to put you and I have no more wall space. So it's like I have to find you a home. But I do, it was one of my favorite ones to make. I really like the leaves. Yeah, this one is really good because it's got that internal foam padding. I didn't do a regular fabric padding. I got the foam insert batting, and I put a yellow trim on the inside too. But it's that foam insert fuzzy warm batting. So it's the batting, but the fabric all in one, and it holds your heat like a fleece blanket. It feels like a fleece blanket. It holds your heat so much better. And so this one is really good in the winter times. But I'm gonna have to launder it and hang it up on the laundry line and double check everything. Margie had it and went through, so everything should be good, but I always double check her work and make sure that she didn't miss something as well as me. But she did really good because some of it's hand stitched, but then she went over and caught some of my mistakes with the machine. I always make mistakes. Oh, Claire, thank you. I may pull them out and go through them then, but I know some of it is actually flour sacks. I was able to identify that. And I was just like, wow, these women were resourceful, like way resourceful. So I was really impressed with that. Some of it is like the old, really old polyester weird stuff. And some of it is cut up ties. And I was like, never thought about that, but I guess that would make a really neat quilt if you got a bunch of really neat ties, you know. I thought that would actually make some really cool patterns. So, yeah, I haven't had that one out in a lot. I've got it wrapped in the cedar chest. So I need to probably go through my cedar chest and fluff everything. I've got to launder that green quilt up there because it's the one that everybody comes in and touches when they visit, and they're like, "Oh, look!" And it needs to be washed because everyone touches that green quilt. And that was like when my mom was young, one of the first ones she ever made. She quilted, but that was like one of the first ones she ever really made for display. And I completely swapped it from her because I do those things. She normally gives it to me, but I totally completely was like, I'm swapping that quilt. She let me. And almost the one underneath it, well, everything underneath it, for that level, my mother made. So I hang on to almost everything my mother makes. So, but she's a prolific quilter to the point where I'm like, Mom, you have a problem. So, but this was one of my favorites to do, and I really like the leaves, and it's pretty. It matches almost any decor, and it's cheerful and it brightens up a room. So I really like this one. And green's my favorite color. If anybody's wondering why it's green stripped, green is my favorite color. I love all things green. So I went with green. And there are, most of the other leaves have some green in them, so it pulls it together. So I'm a weird person. I like green. So I will definitely, if we get it hung up and pictures taken, I'll definitely share those. And then David's leaning, he's really pushing me to list it, so I may list it. And he's right. I don't have anywhere to put it unless I put it in my cedar chest. And then what use is it? It would be better used for someone else because I have way too many quilts. I have a problem. I'm not as bad as my mother, but I'm getting there. I'm really getting there. But yeah, that's what we're working on. So since David actually has 2 days off this weekend, I'm anticipating, he said he's going to do a lot of woodworking and go ahead and cut a lot of the stuff for the Christmas stuff that he's got planned. Yeah, I've got all of my daughter's like Renaissance team and sport and track, all her t-shirts from high school. And I'm in the process of cutting those to strip her a t-shirt quilt, so that she has all of her high school memories in a quilt. So I'm in the process of making one of those right now for her. So when she was packing, I was like, leave that, leave that, leave that, leave that. And she was like, why? And I was like, well, you don't really wear those anymore. They're just memories. And I was like, I've got an idea. I think she knows what I'm going to do, but she gave them to me willingly and said, okay, and trust me. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm thinking that's probably going to be her Christmas gift this year, if I can get it all done in time and get it to Margie, Margie's running. She's full right now. She's overwhelmed. She's got a lot of work, and that's why Jamie's quilt has been there for so long. It's a big one too. So it kind of, she does the little ones until she has time and she clears enough time to do one of the larger ones. And Jamie's is a large one, and it's all like patchwork, small squares. And I hand sewed a lot of it, which means she will go actually through my hand stitching and make sure that she catches anything I missed. That's why I love my quilt lady, because I do miss things. And so I know that when I get it back, it will be double checked, and anything that I like happenstance stitched or missed, she will have corrected for me. And so I'm excited to get it back because it's really looks like an old time Appalachia quilt, which was what I was going for. And I'm excited to get that to Jamie in the mail because I've been eating all her lovely jellies all summer. And I'm here to tell you, she spoiled me rotten. Absolutely rotten. The woman can make anything, and she makes it divinely. And I've loved every spoonful. And honestly, I've lost weight too. She sent me all this jelly, and I've still lost weight this year. Don't know how that happened, but I did. So I've lost weight. I had lost 9 pounds last month at the doctor. So I've been eating a lot of jelly every morning too. I don't know how that's happened, but I'm just going to say it's miracle jelly, and we'll just go with that. So, okay, that's where we are right now. I'm not going to be doing a whole lot of UV stuff. I've pretty much got most of my jewelry except for maybe some tooth earrings completed for a while. And I'm going to slow down and do more enjoyable holiday stuff after this last vendor sale, just because David has really been, oh my back, David has really been pumping out a lot of the projects, and I try to hang on and help him, but it has wore me out, and I'm at the point where I'm like, I'm going to do some stuff I enjoy now. I miss quilting too, and it's honestly, I like to machine quilt because it's instant gratification. Patience is not my strong suit. But when I'm stuck in the recliner or in bed, I will hand stitch. I don't enjoy hand stitching, which is why I mess it up so often. I don't mind embroidery, to be quite honest, but I hate just hand stitching, hand sewing stuff. So I tend to try to actually machine patch a lot. But the last year where I had that mastoiditis and was stuck in bed and down a lot, I hand stitched a lot. And it was just because I did not have the ability to machine stitch a lot. I was not able to sit up. And so I hand stitched a whole lot. And boredom will make you do lots of things. So yeah, I like the instant gratification of sewing of my machine. I'm also finally got my new leather punch and leather stitch kit in so that I can make that possum bag that I've had a possum skin up here hanging behind me for a while now. And I'm just dying to make the bag because I see it in my brain and I know what I want it to look like, but I need to hand, like I have to go and hand dowel punch and then hand stitch everything, and it takes forever. But that's one of the bigger projects I'm wanting to do. And I don't know if I'm going to sell it or not, because after I make it, I may keep it. It depends on how long it takes me to make it and how much I get attached to it. But my faux foxhead purse, my little bag, has still not sold, which is more of a decor item. I understand it's going to take a certain buyer that just wants to pack it once or twice and display it otherwise. But this bag is going to be more suede and more of a messenger bag top. And so I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet. I love all the different embroidery stitches, and I love that you can sit there and start stitching, and in 10 minutes you've made a pretty flower and a leaf, and it's like you weren't even paying attention and it just happened. And so I can sit there and watch a movie, stare at my embroidery, but watch the movie, still know exactly what's going on in the movie, but embroider, and I enjoy it because by the time the movie's over, I look down and I've got, like half of whatever I was starting done. And I'm like, well, that worked out well. And so I like embroidery. It tends to go fast for me when my hands are working good. So I used to have one of those big stand-up tilt level things that actually held your fabric, and you could sit at and quilt or embroider. And I used it to quilt some too, but it broke a couple years ago. I used it a lot. And so now I do everything just from a hoop when I sit down. But I like how quickly embroidery went for me. And I normally would draw my own patterns and then just stitch in as I went. So I really didn't follow an iron on or anything. I just drew my own patterns and stitched it and then washed it, and it was done. So I haven't done a lot of embroidery because I've done more hand sewing, but I may get back to that. Since my hands are doing better, since I've been doing all of this really fine work and my hand strength has been better and the trimmers are less, I may try to get back to some embroidery. I love to embroider flowers. I love to put the little knots in the middle and to stick your needle up and wrap, pull and go down, and you make that little, or you could put a bead on. I love embroidery. It really is satisfying to me. I don't know why. Most people, don't enjoy it, but I really enjoy embroidery. My mother can embroider really well too. She taught me how to do all of this stuff, and I did it begrudgingly as a child. I was like, okay, I'll learn. Okay, I'll sit here long enough to pick this up. Okay, I'm going to make you happy. And now that I'm older, I'm really glad that I sat there long enough and picked a lot of this up, because it is something that is very useful. It's not a skill that many people have, and it's really helpful with what I need for my hands right now, with just because I'm here to tell you, physical therapy was not doing much for me. It was expensive, but it wasn't doing a lot for me. And so a lot of this stuff has actually done way more than physical therapy could have done for me. So I'm tickled with my hand strength and that the trimmers have reduced, and my doctor's super tickled. And so I'm going to just keep doing what I'm doing because it's working way better than the physical therapy. Like, the physical therapist discharged me and said what I was doing at home was much better. So I just kept doing what I was doing. And I can tell. Now, there are some days that I have to walk away from it because I'm just not having a good coordination day. And I know better not do that today. I'll lose a finger or burn myself. But most days I do pretty good. So I'm tickled that I'm doing better. And I can tell that some things after the mastoiditis are coming back and doing a lot better. So at least this year I've had to worry with just my RSD rather than all the other that I had last year. So I can't complain too much. But I do know that for the next month or so until winter truly sets in, my RSD will be kicking my butt. So if I disappear, it's a flare. And don't worry, I'll try to leave a community post and let you know, but I'll be back when the flare is over. Sometimes they can last up to a week to 10 days, but this one, about 4 days and it's starting to alleviate a little bit. So hoping maybe they'll be a little bit shorter this year. David is just on Facebook at Hillbilly Furs, but he will be creating a YouTube channel for his trapping little expeditions solely, and we hope to have that up with a couple of videos posted by next week at the latest. So probably by Wednesday of next week, he will have his own channel, and he's filming his intro, like get to know me video this weekend, and he already has 2 small videos where he's going out and looking for sign and preparing for trapping season. So I've got those ready to be edited and uploaded. I'm just waiting on his intro video, and then I'm going to toss everything up on his channel. Most likely it's going to be like on the line with Trapper Dave, because that's what he always says. I just have to make sure no one else is taking that. But when I get it going, I will definitely put a link in the community page and also tell you all during the next live. So he's going to do his own channel. And he does have a lot of people that like want to follow him and want to watch him do this stuff. It will be looking for sign. It will be trapping. It will be checking traps. Some of it will be fur work in the fur shed. So some of it may be gruesome by some people's standards. It's just life for us. So, but he does try to try to look at it and make sure he doesn't post too much of one thing that might gross people out. But he's got the bear hide from the archery hunter. He does have a cow hide that he will be trying, though we don't know how it's going to turn out because he does everything by hand. And then I know he sent off several people who were wanting garment quality beaver pelts for like blankets and vests and mitts. So he sent off some of his beaver pelts because we were overwhelmed with the beavers that he caught last year. So we sent off a bunch to be professionally done out west. And they were really sweet people and gave us a really good deal. And so those will be coming back, and they will be garment quality. Which I don't really care for garment quality stuff because I think it looks fake. But a lot of people like them because they can make mitts and stuff out of them, and they tend to be able to sew them on by hand easier, or they don't have to have one of the big industrial machines. So he had some done professionally that should be coming back the end of this month or first of next. And so he's got some already sold that people want for mitts and vests and blankets, but I think he will have some that will go on Etsy. Those will be more expensive because they're garment quality. I prefer the rustic Appalachia pickle tan. I just like it better because it is, I think it's just closer to the animal. You get to see and understand more of the process. And a lot of people do like that rustic tan, but every once in a while, someone will buy something and they won't read the store bio, or they won't, and they're like, I don't care for this at all. And I'm like, did you read the bio? You know, and what frustrates me the most about Etsy is people will not report issues. Like if something is shipped and they have an issue with it, they won't message you to fix it or to resolve it in any way. But what I found out about that guy that was posting last week or the week before, he was somebody that owned 3 physical fur tanneries out west in Washington State and had multiple stores on Etsy. And he was going on Etsy as various buyer profiles, buying up one piece of fur and then leaving a horrible review stating that he had bought multiple things. And so, we've only sold like 26, 27 things on Etsy. And so when he got on there, I was like, I bought multiple things from this person. And I was like, whoa, buddy, I know every address I've shipped to. And I never shipped to you before. And so I don't think he understood that he was going to get caught at what he was doing. So I deep dived and started looking into his profile name, the email it was linked to, the other stores that he had bought from in his past. I found out that that's how I found out that he actually owned the stores. I found out his real name. I found out 7 fictitious emails and buyer profiles that he had on Etsy that were all him. And he was going through the small fur people and buying one thing and leaving horrible reviews. And so I reported him to Etsy. They actually got back with me, which was really strange. And they were like, oh my gosh. And I was like, yeah, I'm ex-law enforcement. So I did a deep dive. I got bored and I wanted to know who this man was. And they were like, yeah, we have this problem sometimes with people that have more money, but they don't want to buy ad space with Etsy. They will create these fictitious things, go on, buy an item, leave a horrible review, but they will have their stores linked if they click on their profile. And so people will then click on their profile to see who they are that left this horrible review and then go to their stores. And they say it's cheaper for some people to do that than to buy ads. And I said, well, that's crooked. And so I blocked him from our shop because I was like, I'm not dealing with you again. And I wrote down all of his other fictitious emails and tried to block every profile that I had. But I'm going to monitor, and whoever buys, I'm going to run and see if they're affiliated with those emails. Because if I found out it's him again, I'm just going to refund and block that one because I'm not dealing with him anymore. But Etsy confirmed that for a lot of people in a lot of genres, the smaller stores that start out that do stuff handmade, a lot of the bigger stores, rather than buy ad space, will go in, have multiple email accounts, multiple buyer accounts, and buy smaller items or one item and then blast that store. Well, people love to read the negative reviews, and then they'll click on the person left the negative review and visit the stores that they actually do recommend. Well, just so happen they're all his stores. And then from there, I traced him. Yeah, I have too many skills to be sitting at home bored. I was trained really well. So, but Etsy said they were going to take care of that problem and that they would not condone that behavior. So I was like, well, thank you. And I said it would have been different if he had emailed, said he wasn't satisfied, we would have refunded and he could have just shipped it back. It's not a problem. Our orders sell super quick. We only have one left for the whole year. But it's just the fact that people choose to lie and be deceptive. And I'm like, there's no reason for that. There's just no reason for that. So I'm on to the game on Etsy now. And I told David, I said, don't worry, I will be paying attention and making sure. And he was like, okay, well, I appreciate that. And because he doesn't have the time, but I certainly did. And I was bored that day and irritated. So I found everything that man probably didn't want me to find. And just to be quite honest, if he's going to be a turd, he needs to be more careful online. Because you always leave a trail. So now y'all know how petty I can be. But yeah, that just irritated me because I would hope that anybody that bought would offer a resolution, a compromise time before they would say something so nasty and lie, because I'd never shipped to him before. So Etsy allowed me to respond and to the review, and because I verified that he had lied and been deceptive during his language during his review. So I'm not that tickled with Etsy as a platform overall, but there's not really another option that David can really use with his work schedule. And I would love for him to get on Whatnot and create a Whatnot following for some of the stuff he sells, but I'm not sure that he has the personality that would sell on Whatnot. So I totally think I could rock Whatnot if I was capable and had the energy every day to do it, but I don't think David could do it. So, but we have registered at Whatnot and we do buy some stuff through there and support people, but I just don't think it's going to be something he's really going to be good at. But it's an option. Definitely an option. So, I will also tell you all, if you like used quilts, you can also sometimes find deals on the Shop Goodwill app. Sometimes they get a little pricey. You got to watch the shipping. They like to really charge you a butt ton for shipping. I'm just going to tell you that. You will pay more during the shipping than probably what you buy. But sometimes people will donate their quilts and they might have one small defect or one small tear, which you can totally stitch up in 5 minutes when you get it. But a lot of people do donate handmade quilts. You have to look really closely, make sure they're handmade. If you know how to identify them, you can find some for really good prices and get them in. And I'm amazed at what you can find on Shop Goodwill. Now, I'm not going to be buying any quilts on Shop Goodwill because I have way too many. But I'm amazed that people donate really good quality quilts. It surprised me what some people donated. Some of them were, I saw a double wedding ring on there and I was like, no, honey, you don't donate those things. You do not donate those things. And I think it had a stain on it, but it was a small stain. And I thought, oh, that's nothing. You could get rid of that. Heck, put it on the far side where it's hanging, away from the bedroom door where somebody doesn't see it readily. Good grief. But it was a double wedding ring quilt that somebody probably put hundreds of hours in. And I think it went for $89. And that's like a few $100s of quilt, if not more, depending, on the size and the fabrics used. So I was just like, wow, that's amazing. So Shop Goodwill, the app is, if you're bored and you're like me and you have days where you're stuck in bed, it's a great time killer, and it's a great distraction for me some days. And sometimes people don't know what they have, and they give it to Goodwill, and people go through the Goodwill app and they find it and they're like, oh crap, that's a good deal. I found some Torrid jeans that were like $80 Torrid jeans, and I got them for like $20, and they still had the tags on them. So yeah, it's pretty good. You can find some stuff on there sometimes. Just watch the shipping. You can put in your information and estimate the shipping, so you'll know about how much it's going to cost, so that you're not caught off guard. But they do charge quite a bit for shipping. That's where they make the bulk of their money, I dare say. But they've got some really cute stuff on there, and some really neat stuff, and some really good collectible stuff. So, and most of it's all auction. They do have some buy it nows, but most of it's all auction. And if you're like me and you have slow internet, you just put in your max bid and walk away from it and check it when the auction's over, because I'm not going to beat anybody with my internet speed, so I don't even try. And I 9 times out of 10 do not get what I want, but every once in a while I win. And I got those Torrid jeans the other day, and they were nice. I've worn them a few times and I really like them. I'm all about a deal. And I don't care a bit to tell y'all where to get the deals. And the Shop Goodwill app has been a great time killer, distraction, and deal finder for me. I got David a camo puff vest that I was wearing in that video the other day. It's way too big for me, but it'll fit over his bibs and stuff really well and leave his arms moving. I got that for $9. $9. So I've bought a couple of things off the Shop Goodwill app, and it's been pretty good quality so far. And they do all of the nationwide Goodwills. So a lot of the stuff that I purchase comes from the Midwest, where people are outdoorsmen. And so I pay normally $10 to $15 shipping on every item. But if you can get, a $60 camo vest for $9, it's worth it. I think I paid $9 shipping on that. So I got, I think I might have paid $18 total for that. And it was worth it for me, because if I'd gone and tried to buy him anything at Bass Pro or a local shop, it would have been way too expensive. And he has to wear waders for some of his beaver trapping, and those waders are super expensive. And he has such ginormous feet that I have to special order his waders. Like, I have to buy, I can't find them anywhere. I have to buy them and have the store special order them. And so what I pay on his waders, when he goes through a pair about every couple of years, I have to really skimp on the other stuff. So I get really creative when it comes to the outerwear options for David during the winter. So Shop Goodwill has been a good venture for me, because I can get a lot of stuff from the Midwest, and there are a lot of big burly men up there. So heck yeah, I'm going to buy their leftover clothes, especially the ones that still have the tags on it that they never wore. So I've been real tickled with that so far, and I'm going to keep using that app. And so it might be a good place for y'all to check out. They do sometimes have quilts. Just make sure you look and zoom into the picture so that you can look to make sure it's hand stitched, because they will not try to tell you in the description. You have to know what to look for, because some people will sell the mock quilts that look like a pieced quilt, but they're not. You have to really zoom in and look for the stitching and look for the binding and make sure it is a hand quilted piece. But they're all, they all sell for really decent prices. And then they might have a stain you have to get out, or they might have a tear you have to repair. But overall, if you've got minimal sewing skills, you can normally repair anything they have. So I've really enjoyed that app. So, but I'm going to launder this tomorrow, and then I'll see if David can help me string it up on the laundry line for a picture, because that's the only place I have big enough to put it to get a picture. So, I mean, this is a big quilt. So I'll try to hang it up and get pictures, and I'll really think on it this weekend. And if I put it up, I'll throw a community post and tell you all the next log that I've put it on Etsy. But it does have the fleecy warm backing. So it doesn't have a fabric backing. It's got that fabricy, fleecy, warm backing on it, which I bought a bolt of it somewhere and used it. I might have gone with Mom's to, there's a little fabric store. It's kind of like a Joann's fabric, but it's a smaller like Mom and Pop, but it's set up a lot like Joann's. And I went with Mom. Gosh, that was before she had Granny home taking care of her. And we ran, and I found a whole bolt that was in the sale bin. And that's why I bought it, because I thought I'll use that for something. And so when I did this. I said, well, I'll just back it with that and do the binding over, and it really does retain the heat. It's really been a warm quilt. So I thought it was a moment of genius. But if you do have like a sweater shaver, I probably needs to be shaved because it does tend to roll up. But it's warm. If I had a sweater shaver, I'd shave it for you. I don't have a sweater shaver because I don't own many sweaters. So I don't have a sweater shaver. But I'll let you know. So I'm going to do my dishes and pick up some of my mess, and then I'm going to lay back down. And I'm hoping tomorrow to continue to feel even better. And we'll see how the weekend goes. And I'm hoping I get grandbaby time. And I'm hoping by Monday I am back to my normal mischief. I'm just really tired right now. But I'm hoping by Monday I'm back to my normal mischief. So, but I did get out this morning to go to the post office with Dave. But the stairs were a bad choice. I looked like a baby gazelle trying to go up the stairs. I know I did. I just was not going to walk the 10-mile ramp. But by the time I got home, I spent the rest of the day in bed. That was too much. So, but I'm getting there. I'm bouncing back. I'm just tired. But I'll bounce back. And we'll get shifted into the other room, and then Christmas stuff will probably start full tilt the end of next weekend, and the next week for sure after that last vendor sale. Christmas is going to, like, holiday stuff is going to be full tilt with us. That's what everything's going to be based on, and getting it into the Etsy store. So when I list Gnomes and when I'm able to list bulk items, I will definitely do a community post to notify everybody and drop the link. And that way, if you want one, you can grab it. And there will be, you'll have the most to choose from, so you can pick the one that you like the most. I will probably only be listing like 4 to 6 at a time. And then doing, with the smaller ones, I will be doing some grouping. So we'll do, a couple, 3 in a grouping and sell some of the smaller ones so that people won't, there's no sense to buy just one. You might as well buy a couple so you have a set or a group. So we're going to do that, and I'll let you know when those happen. And then when I get ready to do the Pinecone Gnome, I will warn you all so that you all can go through and gather your craft items. We can do that together. And legit, anything I make, you can get creative and walk through your house and remake. If you don't have fur, buy faux fur. Just cut it from the back only. If you buy faux fur, cut the back only so that you don't cut the hair. And you can make these gnomes from almost anything in your home. A bottle, felt, an old flannel shirt. I have an old flannel shirt that I'm going to be using for hats right over there in my basket. So get creative, start gathering items, and when we sit down and make some of our Pinecone Gnomes together and our other gnomes, you will understand kind of how they go together, and then you will have the insight to walk through your home and go, oh, and you'll see all the things that you can turn into gnomes and use as well. So I try to only buy their noses because I do like their little round noses. But you can even get creative and use pantyhose and stuff it with a cotton ball and sew a nose. So you can cut a little spot off a pantyhose, put a cotton ball in it, sew it together, and stick it on for their nose. You can get really creative with whatever you have and make these things. So as I make them, pay attention and gather stuff in your home and make a gnome from scraps, from every just found objects in your home that you no longer use. So it's really simple. It's really easy. And I love it when y'all kind of have an aha moment, walk through your house and make something. And then you send me pictures and be like, look what I did. Because that's kind of what I'm here to do. Everything I do is on a budget. I'm poor as a whippoorwill. And I enjoy it when you all have an aha moment and you do it on your budget. And I enjoy the shares. So after the vendor sale next weekend, I will be starting the Christmas ornaments. Chupacabra cat. So I'm going to be getting the last of the items probably next weekend as we travel. I'll stop and get the rest of whatever I need. I think I have most of it. And we're going to start making that and see how that turns out. I'm excited about that. I think China's really going to enjoy what I have in mind for that. It's going to be funny. It's going to be cute, and it's going to be so fat and squishy. So that's that's why I'm really excited about it. But I also have a twist, because I get to make it a chupacabra too. So I have a twist, And I think that's going to be cute. So I got a lot of fun stuff coming, and hopefully I won't have another flare that takes me out for a few days, because I feel like I know I miss you guys, and I know you probably miss me, and I'm missing time to show you stuff that I want you to be able to do for yourself during the holidays. So I hate it when I go into flare, because then we lose time where we could have learned something and gotten through something. But we'll make up for it as soon as I get to feeling better, and we'll start doing this. But legit, you can go outside and find limbs, let them dry. If they're already dry, you can cut them up. You can make your own little gnomes. It doesn't have to be this big. The smaller ones are actually really, really cute. And make a yarn beard. If you have an old mop head, bleach it in the washing machine and then cut it up and make beards. Like I said, make the pantyhose nose, or put a little pom-pom, or, you can use almost anything. Get creative. And, show me some of your ideas that you come up with. I also have a bird ornament that I make out of pine cones, and this little styrofoam ball that I may make this year, depending on how much I get done. That's a really cute one as well. So holiday momentum is fixing to hit wide open. So I'm going to share my stuff with you all, and I would love for you all to share it with me as well. And so you have my emails and stuff in the live chat. You can go back and get it in other comments as well. Denise is great to throw my links up. You can throw it to me on Instagram at Isby Waters, or you can send it to Hillbilly Furs at David, and he'll make sure I get it as well. We love for y'all to share your ideas with us. Gypsy has been a great idea tosser. She tosses me ideas all the time. Gypsy has been she's just been a great little addition to my little friend group. She just keeps me motivated. And I'm just going to tell you, she's really talented in her own regard. She probably doesn't want me to say this, but she's quite talented. She's quite the painter. And I'm trying to make her brave enough to share some stuff, or maybe even offer some stuff for sale, because she has painted a couple of things the last couple of weeks that have blown my mind. I could not do them. So I would like for everybody to see those maybe when she gets brave enough to share. They've been some really, really quirky, pretty, and intense, because I couldn't use the colors, and my brain doesn't work that way. So I really enjoy seeing people's brains that do work that way. And to be quite honest, you've painted one that I really am intrigued by, that I may have to yell at you and go, I may have to buy that, because it's the one that looks like Dave walking the trap line, but it's not Dave. I really thought that one was really neat, and it resonated with me, obviously, because we've talked about in the past. But she's really talented, so I would love for her to share some of her artwork, or give me the green light to share some of her artwork. And I've had a couple people share some stuff with me, so if I can get permission, I'll see if I can share. But yeah, we need to do a lot of support. And if somebody else wants to craft and do a crafting live, if you will let me know and you want to do a live, we can have everybody that normally comes to watch me go and watch you that night. I'll even go watch you that night, and we'll do a crafting live with you, so we can be supportive. So if anybody else is trying to start a channel, or trying to see if they want to do a channel and wants to attempt a crafting live and see how it is to have everybody talk to you and kind of do this process, let us know, and I will set my lives aside or do them at another time, so that we can go and join you and help you. So just let me know, communicate with me, and we can work that out. I'm all about supporting everybody here, and I know I've got super talented people, because you come here to see the craft, so I know you craft too. So I know I've got super talented people in my sub base, and I would love to spend an evening with you crafting. So if you want to do that, just get with me, pick a day and a time, and we'll try to get people that normally come and sit with me we'll all go and sit with you, and we'll do a craft with you that night. And I would completely love that. So just communicate with me, and we can make that happen. I'm now going to shut up, let Oscar go outside, because he's looking at me like a lady. And I'm going to wash a couple of dishes and clean off my table a little bit, and then kind of meander back to bed. But if you don't see me this weekend, don't worry. I'm just getting grandbaby time. And after the week I've had, I really need grandbaby time. So if you don't see a lot of me this weekend, don't freak out. I'm just stuck in Ellie Mae's world and enjoying spending time with her. And it probably won't be a bad idea to give my body another couple of days to kind of get over this before I try to push it too awful much. Like I'm sitting here kind of doubled over on this quilt because my back and my hips don't like this chair right now. I need a better chair. It's on my wish list. David is aware. Um, so I'm going to go and do that and go back to bed. But I just want to check in and show you all what David had done. And so we will try to get some of these on Etsy so that y'all can snag a few. And then after the vendor sale, they will all be going on Etsy and just as quick as David can get them cut and stuff. So lots of stuff happening. Christmas is fixing to vomit all over my house and my live streams and Etsy. So be prepared. We're going to completely skip Thanksgiving. Sorry. I love Thanksgiving, but I'm going to completely skip it mentally in my head. But we're going straight for Christmas and Christmas crafts so that if I show you something you want to make for your family, you have the time to go and purchase stuff or resource stuff and make it. So that's my goal. And we're just going to pray I stay out of flare mode and we make it happen. So toss up some good vibes for me, and I will see you as soon as I possibly can. And hopefully I won't have bags under my eyes that time. But I am feeling better. Thanks for all the thoughts, prayers, and messages. I really appreciate all the good energy and all the distractions. Y'all have no idea. And I love every one of you. And Denise, don't feel obligated to buy every quilt I make. I love you, but don't feel obligated to buy every quilt I make. And you're going to be getting a Christmas gift. So be prepared. I've got a box started for you two. So I try to take care of my mods, but you two have basically become family. So be prepared for a box for Christmas of just, random goodies. And yeah, we'll catch up Sunday at Couples Chat possibly. And then I will be back Monday for my normal, hopefully mischief and crafting times. So I'll talk to you soon. Y'all have a good night. I love you guys. Bye. Oscar, you gotta go pop-up? You gotta go pop-up?